On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks don't need Anthony Davis. That's an overreaction. We'll talk about that and others in today's Locked On Mavs.
This is Cooper Flagg, and you're listening to Locked On Mavs.
Dog, all of us, all five.
Explain yourself.
All these changes, I still got my dog Dwight Powell.
You are Locked On Mavs, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
And welcome. You're Locked On to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being every day or making Locked On Mavs part of your day and making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network out there. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Joining me, as always, my co-host, media member covering the Mavs for 10 years, right alongside me, the Salt and the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
We are so back. Like, there is nothing more that describes being back than logging on, opening up the internet, the World Wide Web, and just seeing takes.
Not the government.
Seeing takes and overreactions and just flaming opinions and takes just firing off on all cylinders after two preseason games. This is what I'm here for. We're back. This is what it's about.
I love it. We're going to address those overreactions today, including, is Cooper Flagg's offense ahead of schedule, or is that an overreaction too?
No.
The Mavs are allowing a lot of threes. The Mavs have massive holes in their defense. Is that an overreaction? The Cooper Flagg, Dereck Lively, PJ Washington trio looks amazing. Is that an overreaction even? Dante Exum is just done. Is that an overreaction? Lots of things like that. We'll talk about and address all of these. But let's start with this one, Isaac Harris. The idea that Anthony Davis is not needed on this team is kind of insane. But you see all the hype for him going into the offseason. You see all the hype for him all throughout the offseason. We had him at least top 10 NBA player in our rankings when we went through it. The Locked On Top 100 had him 14th, so he's definitely a top 15 player for sure. And so you see all the hype around him, and then you see a game like the Charlotte Hornets game, and you go, that's not a top 15 player to me. And then you see the Cooper Flagg experience happen. You're excited. You're getting hyped about him. Every single little thing he does is making you happy about basketball again. You see Lively and PJ Washington playing with him, and all of a sudden that pops a little bit because they're playing against the Hornets second unit a little bit, and they played a little bit faster and all this. And if the Mavs were going to get rid of Anthony Davis or move on from him or didn't need Anthony Davis, they would have done that already. It would have been way back when I did an episode about that months ago where we were like, all right, if you're going to get Cooper Flagg, maybe you just reset this whole thing. But now that they're not doing that, Anthony Davis is needed on this team. He's still the best player on this team. It's an overreaction that Anthony Davis either doesn't fit with this group or that the Mavs just don't need him because they're better off without him.
Listen, over the summer, we had a conversation on one of our pods, and I text you this in the first quarter, and I was like, I wish I could remember the podcast episode we did in which we said, hey, it could get awkward at some point in the season if when AD takes, I think I even used the phrase, like when he takes a break and like you laugh and you're like, break, like it's a weird way of saying him like just being out, but him like taking a break, like in the game, getting a breather. And it could get awkward whenever he's on the bench. And then that second unit of, I just use Cooper and Lively, but throw PJ into this now. And it's like that trio could be like more fun or really effective. And it could get awkward because it's like, hey, the Luka trade was to build around AD now and all this stuff. So now it's becoming a topic of conversation after 2 preseason games. Nico's never going to trade Anthony Davis. Like, at least right now, like that was like he traded Luka to target Anthony Davis. He wants to build around AD. So anybody who wanting that's just the timeline is now. Like if the whole timeline is like, hey, we're going to extend this and it's to build around the young guys and all this stuff. I kind of get it at that point. Like, all right, you're going to you have these young guys, but the timeline's now. They want to win right now. And Anthony Davis, you got to have top 10 to top 15 players in the league. And Anthony Davis is that when he's healthy. And right. I mean, for all that we know, he's healthy. Was he trying very hard in that Charlotte game on Saturday night? No, he wasn't. It's the preseason game. So I'm not reading too much into that. I think it's an overreaction on it. I think you gotta have AD to win at the level that you want to win at. But it wasn't fun to watch on Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm not going to come in and gaslight you and say, like, oh, he was actually really good. And if you looked at some of the actual film and see that, like, I'm not going to do that. I talked about it on the show slightly yesterday. It's like, I didn't think he played very well. He didn't line up for certain free throws to rebound. You know what I mean? Like, he was not putting all the effort in there. I also think as a player that we talk about gets injured a lot, like maybe putting 100%, 110% effort in preseason is not the best thing for him either. Right? Like that is also something to think about. You talk about the timelines, and Tim Legler had this tweet recently when anytime Legs talks about the Mavericks, you're like, all right, we got to listen up, because he was the one that he was one of the few national media people that actually believed in him believed in the Mavericks going into the playoff run. And he said, watching preseason ball and could confidently say two things are true. Flagg is everything is advertised, with perhaps some underselling his offensive talent potential, while also landing in the best team situation for a first overall pick in NBA history, starting his career up next to future Hall of Famers, with two still at elite star players in AD and Kyrie, plus Klay Thompson, former All-Star D'Angelo Russell, an elite front court next to Lively and Gafford, solid depth as well. This is the deepest roster in the NBA, which means massive pressure on Jason Kidd and Nico Harrison to maximize this roster and win a championship in the next 2 to 3 years, or it'll be a failure for them. AD, Kyrie, and Flagg's early part of his career. Like, that's what we're talking about now with this duo, is like, and this whole group is that.
Oh, now there's pressure on Nico.
Yeah, right. Yeah, now.
No, buddy. I mean, when you trade Luka and get Anthony Davis back and talking about AD help being, a better piece to help you win now and all this stuff, then the pressure was on right then and there.
Who's just 4 years older than Luka anyway, like
yeah. So the moment that trade happens and they say the things that they do, that put the timeline on it. We said it back then. We say the same thing now. You got to win a title in the next 2 to 3 years. They've talked about openly the timeline, Nico himself and stuff, and AD, and then Kyrie and the contract and all of that. So that isn't changing. It hasn't changed since the trade. It's not changing now. Cooper's just added to the mix of this to help win now.
Yeah, and he's shown that I think he can be a win now contributor. There's so many people have tried to tell me, and even in the Locked On season preview we did over the weekend, that's going to come out this week, that they said, well, I think it was David Locke pressed me on this. He's a rookie player. They're not going to be impact players. Like, most of the time, they're not impact players. This one is going to be. He's
most of the time. He's not a most of the time rookie, though.
Right. This one is going to be an impact player in some way. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star right away. He's maybe not going to be like Blake Griffin year one, or he's not going to be Magic Johnson leading his team to the finals in year one. But he's going to be an impact player in some way. He can do too many things for it to not be an impact player. And so I think that has maybe even pushed the timeline up a little bit. But the timeline needed to be pushed up because the Mavericks need Nico Harrison. The Mavericks need Anthony Davis if Nico Harrison's vision is going to ever play out in this way. And so there's just no moving on. If you were going to do that and try and reset the whole timeline, you should have done it back in the offseason. And so we're too far in now for that.
Yeah, there's no resetting with the timeline now. It stays the same. And you got to have AD. I think it is a huge overreaction to be like, oh, we don't need AD. We can throw out the young guns and all this stuff. No, you got to have AD.
What do you think about the one where he doesn't fit? I saw that a couple times from some people. Like, he doesn't fit. You got to have the speed of the PJ and Cooper Flagg and Lively, and like AD doesn't fit with what we're trying to do.
Well, I think what the Mavs are trying to do is built around AD and not built around Cooper. So
are they better optimized around Cooper Flagg right now?
But I'm speaking on like what I think the Mavs are doing. I'm not saying what I want or what I like.
What do
I'm
you
just
want,
saying
Isaac?
They're building around AD and Kyrie and Cooper, obviously, but it's not about does AD fit. It's about does the other, like, he's the guy they're trying to fit the pieces around. You even had the number one overall pick in Cooper Flagg saying post game of the Charlotte game saying, hey, I got to find ways to maximize AD. I got to, like, they're fitting around AD in how the Mavs are trying to build this. Yeah. Is the question, hey, is this the most effective type of basketball to run in today's game and all this stuff? That's a different question, because that's like that's subjective. That's what we're going to share our opinion, all this stuff. But does he fit? For the Mavericks, it's about the other players fitting with him. And so he's going to start, he's going to get all of his minutes and all this stuff. I'm just fascinated by some of the lineup combinations and stuff. And I think if you look at it this way, this is a huge, I think it's a huge benefit and a huge win for the Mavs too, because You got to have a guy like an Anthony Davis to win a title, a top 10 to 15 guy in AD. But now we're seeing, I get it's 2 games. They played the Charlotte Hornets, who suck, and OKC's upper team. And we're like basing this off of those 2 games. But now it's like, oh, okay, well, our best player goes to the bench. Our top, 10 to 15 player goes to the bench. Now we get to run this unit. So now it's fun. Now you don't even have a time to go like use the bathroom during the game or get some popcorn at the concessions because you don't want to miss that second unit either. So I think it's a big win. I think you got to kind of like shift your mindset on, instead of does AD fit? It is, ooh, we found something. We're finding something in our second unit that when AD takes a break, we have something else that works too in 2 different styles.
Coming up.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Part of the other thing that Tim Legler said is that Cooper Flagg is everything is advertised. Perhaps some were underselling his offensive talent and potential. Were we underselling it? Is Flagg ahead of schedule, or is that an overreaction? We'll answer that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. Whether you're running, lifting, cross-training with your favorite instructors, whatever you want to do, you can do it with Peloton cross-training Tread Plus. The thing that I love about it is it actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. When I got a personal trainer recently, I was like, that's all the things that I need. I need to be told what to do, and I need to be told if I'm doing it correctly or not. And the Peloton IQ helps you with that. Their system offers real-time strength coaching, does all those things. The swivel screen is a game changer as well. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat at all. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. It's the website. It's the word one, onepeloton.com.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners, listening every day. Check the QR code for different ways to follow the show. There's a TikTok, there's an Instagram, there's a Twitter, there's a bunch of different ways you can follow us all over the place, so check that out. We got a comment the other day that says, I've been a Raccoon Squad member for 2 years and still have no idea why it's a raccoon. And I love that. Every day there's somebody new that
means it's at some point it'll be time for the annual story.
It may happen, but it's not today, because today we're talking about overreactions from preseason, and we'll get into some of those. One of the things that I'm seeing is that Cooper Flagg's offense is ahead of schedule, because there are some people when he first was projected to go to the Mavericks, and the Mavericks first got that pick, that would say to me, his defense is actually better than his offense. We say all this stuff about his offense, but his defense is actually better. And then there's some talk about,
I was one of those people.
Maybe there's some talk that his offense is, not going to be there right away in the NBA. That's the thing that he's got to work on. But through the couple of these preseason games, we're starting to see him hit pull-up jumpers, multiple pull-up jumpers, hit pull-up jumpers with some dribble moves or with some pick and roll action, handle the ball off of pick and roll, play and lead transitions and fast breaks while handling the ball, catch lobs from half court. We're seeing him do a lot of different things on offense. Is it an overreaction to say his offense is ahead of schedule, Isaac Harris?
Oh man, that's tough, because I think I'm in that camp. Like it.
You think it is?
I think it's a little bit.
What's the schedule? What should the schedule have been?
Well, I think I guess once again, this is subjective too, because I was in the camp of like, I think he's an amazing defender. He's going to have an immediate impact on the team. I think if there's one area of his game that could take a little bit more time to like catch up to the rest of his games, it's like the creation, the isolation, some of the playmaking stuff, the ball in his hands. I've just seen some plays here in the preseason. I know it's 2 games, and we know the type of opponents they've played. That I'm like, oh, I thought the behind the back move on LaMelo, pull up shot, nothing but net would be, I don't know, a month or 2 into the season, or the pull up threes
or next year,
the pull up threes at the game of Fort Worth. Then I'm like, all right, you took that with confidence. Or some of the fadeaway shots he's done. I expected some of the like passing over the top. He's a really good passer. The lob up to AD and stuff. Like he had Malawach at Duke. He had some other guys. Like I watched a lot of that. It's some of the creation, ball handling stuff, pull up stuff that I'm like, all right.
Well,
it's kind of nice to see right now early on.
The things we were wanting to watch for in some of these games that we texted the text line, members before the game was, all right, we're wanting to watch against OKC. Can he dribble against a Cason Wallace type? Can he dribble against, some real ball pressure? And we saw that and saw that he could do that. And that was something that people took away from it. The whole offseason, we were talking about, can he get his own shot? Can he create in any kind of realistic way in the NBA? Because Kyrie's going to be out. The Mavs are going to put the ball in his hands. And if he's only just a passer or only just a guy that dribbles and maybe is like trying things, then maybe that's not going to work for the Mavericks. And now we're seeing him create some offense, and he does it in bunches here, and he's can score in different. We've seen him score in different ways, and like it's exciting. I don't think it's an overreaction that his offense is ahead of schedule, because it depends on, like you said, it's subjective, depends on what you thought his schedule was, but it looks ahead of what I thought it would be at this point. Like you said, I did not expect these pull-up jumpers to look as clean as they do. And
that's the part. The finishing in transition, expected that. Catching a lob, expected that.
The catching the lob. I saw a Lakers fan Twitter account say, "Why are people freaking out about this? Jared Vanderbilt can do this." When he caught the lob from Alcor. Kind of true. Kind of true.
It's gonna be a long year with Lakers Twitter. It's gonna be a long year.
There's still some like hybrid like Lakers Mavs, like you go back and
really
forth.
I thought those were like rare breeds right now.
I think there still are some.
I feel like you're still claiming allegiance on one of the either side, but
I was looking really hard at FanJam and at the first game to see if there was going to be a Luka Lakers jersey somewhere, and I have not seen one yet. So
a lot of Luka Mavs jerseys.
A lot of Luka Mavs jerseys still for sure. I get.
Yeah, that's a staple right now. But yeah, it's the pull up stuff. It's the creation stuff with the ball in his hands that, And it's just 2 games. I mean, we'll see what, rest of preseason, once the season gets going and all that stuff. But, and he's played so smart, and he's not rushed. He's not forcing a lot of stuff. He's just playing like a vet out there that, it's like, dude, have you been you've been in the league like 6 years at this point? It's like, oh no, you're 18. This is why you got invited to Team USA minicamp.
He did have 5 turnovers in the last game. 3 of them were in the third quarter when Jason Kidd let him play extended time. And he said about his game, he said, second half, I got a little lost. Too much watching out there. And you're like, to me, yes.
It's all right. We were used to that.
But the fact that he was self-aware enough to say that and to come out and say it to me was like, great. Like that shows something like what we talked about with Lively, that Lively learns from mistakes. That was one of Lively's big superpowers, that he always learned the next thing from his mistakes. I think Flagg's going to be the same way, and maybe even better at this, because I don't think you're going to see that happen again to him.
Yeah. What did you think about his AD comment post game about I need to be better at helping AD?
The full comment about it was, I got to find ways to help AD more, play off of him better, help him impact the game when he's posting up and getting his ISOs and whatnot. It's been huge just trying to fit together. That's what the preseason is for. That's like taking responsibility. And that's like I've got to do something better to help the team, which is just what you want, like the leader or the best player in your team to say at a certain point. And Flagg is not that yet, but you want him to eventually take that role and be like, all right, well, I'm not going to talk bad about a teammate. Obviously, I've got to be better helping him. And I know where I am. And also it shows, I know the hierarchy of this team. Like we talked about before, AD's still the best player on the team. They're fitting around him. And Cooper Flagg is saying this. A number 1 pick could come in and be like, yeah, I just got to figure out when, what I've got to do around him. You know what I mean?
Like not even
talking about his own stuff instead of like, I've got to help AD.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even have to talk about him playing a role in helping AD. Like, it could just be simply like, hey, AD had an off night. We got to find ways as a team to, make him, put him in the right spots and get him the ball and stuff. He looked inward and was like, what can I do? I need to do stuff to help him and to play off him and to adjust to him and figure out how to fit around him. And I know some fans especially are like, oh my gosh, like, no, he shouldn't, he has to prop up like this all-star, and all this stuff. And it's like, no, I don't really take it that way. I think it's more of a leadership thing you're seeing with Coop. So I personally loved the comment.
Well, we also know that Anthony Davis is like a finishing star, right? Like he is better as a finisher rolling off of a pick and roll than like him handling the ball, right? That's
well,
what
I
makes
think
it
he
go.
likes handling the ball. So
he does a little bit, yeah. But we talked about all summer. Who's going to set up Anthony Davis? Who's going to be the one that comes in and helps him get his shots? Because they need somebody like that. And D'Angelo Russell, is now fitting the bill to do that, and we're excited about his fit with the Mavericks. But that's maybe awareness of Cooper Flagg seeing what Anthony Davis's game is and saying, well, how can I help set him up in this way? Because once you get AD set up, there was like 3 plays in a row in that second half the other day against the Hornets where it's like, oh, there's some like 3 AD all-star moves in a row where you just go, there's just no way anybody's stopping that, especially like Ryan Kalkbrenner, who looked good, by the way.
I was going to say, hey, I like Kalkbrenner at Creighton, and I thought he was going to be okay prospect in the league, and surprised he fell to the second round.
He's looked really good in that game.
He can move. Yeah, he's not just like a stationary. He's not like an ant from Lord of the Rings that just stands there. Moves a little slow.
The ants were moving, though. They moved across
Dude,
that
they
forest.
did. You get him at Isengard,
They got all the way there.
they were moving.
It only took them like one scene cut to get from the Fangorn Forest to the Isengard Tower.
And once they got pissed, they're like, screw that.
Coming
We're
up,
on marathons.
more overreactions. The Mavs 3-pointers, or the 3-pointers against the Mavericks, going to kill them. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds, things that you can use to get on the action. NFL season is here, and neither Isaac and I's teams are very exciting right now, so you can go check out all kinds of different other things for any other kind of game that's going on. The Buffalo Bills are exciting to make the playoffs. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are exciting to make the playoffs. Minus 1,400. That one's pretty fun. You got the Green Bay Packers minus 750 to make the playoffs. Let's look at some of these other ones. The Lions, who lost tonight, minus 355 to make the playoffs. What's another?
They lost that game tonight?
Yeah, to the Chiefs, they lost. Wow. So go check out all the other things on FanDuel. And if you're a new customer right now, you can put down $5. If you win, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app on anything. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started at FanDuel.com. Also brought to you by Monarch Money. Monarch Money is there for busy people with busy lives. If you're somebody where you're just like, I can't fit one more thing into my schedule and I'm struggling, and every once in a while I have the money, but I'm like overdrafting my account for various reasons. Like there's just so many things going on. You got so many different accounts you're trying to manage and trying to figure out. You're like, I got to get a hold and figure out my financial situation. Monarch Money is there to help you. It is very quick. I did it myself. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that helps bring your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface. And you can choose which things you want to add. You don't have to add every single thing, but if you do add every single thing, it helps you so much. Does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So go check it out. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your account at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONNBA.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All these changes, and I still got my dog Dwight Powell. I still got.
Such a good quote.
Gotta play it. It's just too good every single time. All right, Isaac, let's talk about some more overreaction we've heard from Dallas Mavericks fans and some other people across. One of them from me is that the Mavericks three-point shooting is gonna hurt them. That the opponents shooting three-pointers against them is going to really cost them. That's something that we saw in this game against the Hornets, and you just said, man, like, if this is what they're gonna give us, if this is what it's looking like, how do they not have a plan for this? Like opponent three-point shooting in 2025 NBA. I don't think it's an overreaction to say that this is something we're going to be monitoring all season, or that this is something that is going to be a problem for the Mavericks, because I think this is the only way that you could beat the Mavericks defense, right? Like, you're not going to beat them to the rim, and the mid-range stuff, there's not enough good NBA players in there that can kill you from the mid-range. SGA is, one of them, and Kevin Durant, like, there's just not many other ones. And so there are teams that are just going to launch threes against you, and that's going to happen every once in a while. As a team's going to get hot, like the Hornets did. They started like 7 of 9 in this game. One of them got turned back into a 2, but still, it was a 3-point type shot, close enough to me. And I don't think it's an overreaction to say that this is a problem for the Mavericks, but I don't think it's going to do them in and make them like, oh my gosh, the Mavs are not a top 10 defense because of these threes.
No, I don't think it's overreaction at all. I think it's definitely something we're going to monitor all season, which is exactly, I asked Kid about it after the OKC game, And he was like, he kind of said that, hey, they came out, want to shoot a lot of threes against us. I think that's going to be a game plan for a lot of teams. But he's like, and he made a nod to, I think teams are going to drive and kick us a lot this year because of the size, right? Like you have that much size on the floor of Lively, AD, Cooper. This is what teams are going to try to do. And it's not just, hey, we're going to avoid the paint and avoid the inside because there's so much size, but it's also about we're going to dare these big men to get out on the perimeter too. And like, can they close out fast enough? I get it. You saw some of that last night too with AD. When you're not putting in some of the effort and stuff in a game, you see that on closeouts and all that stuff. But the bigs got to close out harder when the season starts. That's going to be huge for this team because teams are going to be chucking the 3-pointers against them. It's already been a joke between some people watching some of the games, some of the media and stuff. It's like, dude, what are the limits? And I tweeted this out in our insider program, a stat here about the threes the Mavs have. What?
You didn't tweet it out in the you texted it.
Texted it. There you go. Texted this out in our insider program. 3-pointers allowed by opponents against the Mavs over the last couple seasons here. Last year was at 35 a game. The year before that, 31. Year before that, 31. Year before that, 35, and then 35 again. You know what's going to be over 35 this year? It's going to be this year. The opponent's 3-point attempts. They're definitely going to be over 35. The most number one in the league last year, the most 3-pointers allowed by an opponent per game was Utah last year at 41.5. I think Dallas is going to be hovering around that 40 mark. I think they're going to be at like that 39 to 40 allowed per game. And I think it's going to be something that they're kind of like, they won't openly say, hey, we're okay with that, but it's something they're probably going to live with and hope that they're going to close out better during the season.
Well, you just it depends on the quality of those shots too, right? The quality of shots that.
Well, if you close out like an Anthony Davis closes out, that makes the quality shot go down when you have a 7-footer like AD.
Right, and then the other thing is, I think you mentioned that the bigs have to rotate a little bit better. I think the guards also will have to trust that the bigs are going to handle the guard that gets past them. Because one of the things I keep seeing is that Isaac is completely frozen on here. One of the things I keep seeing is that D'Angelo Russell gets beat on a pick and roll, or that he's gets stopped on a pick and roll and gets held up by it, obviously. And then he doesn't completely rotate over to the other guy that he needs to rotate to. He just allows it to, he takes an extra second. And this is something that you're going to see with a brand new team that's trying to figure out their rhythm and trying to figure out how they need to get their offense, their defense going, and figure out how to hit these rotations on defense. And so it's something they've got to figure out, and they obviously know it. And I'd rather them have to figure out in preseason than in a regular season. And so I don't think it's an overreaction to say that this is going to be a problem for the Mavericks, or say that this is something that they're going to struggle with, because what are teams going to do? Like, teams that have to take threes against them, right? They're not going to go to the rim. And they're not good enough teams they're not good enough teams that they're able to take a bunch of mid-range shots. Isaac's internet completely went off. One last overreaction I'll do here is that Caleb Martin isn't an NBA player. I've seen this a lot. Just because he's not playing doesn't mean he's not a quality NBA player. We started to go through in the Locked On Western Conference preview, and David Locke made this big deal about having 240 full minutes. Like, do you have 290, or was it 290 or 240 minutes of NBA players? Like, not every single team has that. Not every single team has a full rotation where you go, all right, everybody that touches the floor tonight is a guaranteed rotation player and would play for multiple teams. And he mentioned, like, at the end of the Mavs list was Caleb Martin. And he said, if Caleb Martin is there, the Mavericks do have that full complement of rotation players. And I think Caleb Martin still can be an NBA player for sure. That he can be a good rotation player, that he can play good defense enough. The 3-point shot is something that did not look great last year, but I'm willing to give him a chance for sure. He doesn't have like debilitating injuries like we've seen with Dante Exum in the knee. And so that's one reason I'm like, all right, I'm kind of out on Dante Exum, but Caleb Martin, we just haven't seen yet. I saw him warm up completely against the Hornets, and I think that we'll see him, I don't know, I don't know. Here we go.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know.
I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I'm not writing out Caleb Martin as an NBA player yet. We've seen him do too many good things on a basketball court. We've seen him be valued too much by the Sixers and by the Heat and by other teams. And I'm not completely writing him off yet. So I think it's an overreaction to just say he's just not an NBA player, right? Like, and I saw people overreacting to Max Christie not playing well for stretches in the second game. Oh, Max Christie is garbage. I'm sorry to I think I got this a couple times, even from some of you on the text line. Sorry to tell you, Max Christie is garbage. Like, let's take a second. Let's watch him a little bit. Just because he doesn't look like an all-star doesn't mean he can't be a player that impacts the game at all. Sometimes rotation players only impact the game like 25% of the game because they're not an every down back. You know, like they're not the guys that are going to get the ball every single time. That's an NFL term. Like that's a football term where the running back gets the ball every single time. Those are some overreactions. Let us know what you think in the YouTube comments or on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, at Locked On Mavs, wherever you follow us or hang out with us. Let us know what some overreactions you've seen are or what you think about our overreactions. We'll be back tomorrow with more. The Mavericks play a game, and so we'll have a post-game show there. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Always back. Boom!